Today on the Matt and Ann Show, we welcome Basketball Hall of Famer Sidney Moncrief.
You're my dog.
I'll feature him in the title.
Okay.
Welcome to the show, Sidney. How are you doing today?
Hey, man, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. I want to get right into it. I see you wearing the Milwaukee shirt. Obviously, that was your team for many years. What do you think about their current season, and do you think they can repeat?
I like some stretches. They played extremely well. Of course, guys are out and in the lineup. I think they're giving some of their other players opportunities to play quality minutes, which will help them down the stretch. I think they'll come out of the East. It's kind of hard to predict who's going to win the championship right now.
Yeah.
I just like to predict. I like to predict who's going to win maybe in June. but they certainly have the personnel to do very well this year.
Absolutely. I want to name the top 5 candidates for MVP, and I would love for you to tell me your opinion on them. You cool with that?
Okay.
I'm going to start with Jokic.
Just been a solid there. Just all around, he carried the Denver Nuggets. They're still with one of their best players out. They still seem to be playing well. And his ability to not only pass the ball, but score and play defense, he does it all. Very, very highly skilled player. I like his game, and certainly he's been very good for Denver this year, as he has been in the past. But with their best player out, they still have maintained a fairly consistent play.
Joel Embiid.
Yes, I think Doc Rivers has helped his game become more serious. He's more of a serious basketball player than he was in the past, not as much talking and laughing and joking, but he seemed to be playing a more balanced brand of basketball, more consistent basketball. And I think the stability of Doc Rivers has really helped his game good play, fun to watch play.
Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Oh, Giannis is Giannis. He's the best all-around player in the NBA still. His impact with the Bucks is being felt. It will continue to be felt. The fact that he can play multiple positions, he rebounds, he passes, he plays defense, he scores. And what does he not do? He's the leader. He's been the most influential player in the history of Milwaukee Bucks basketball. He continues to impress.
Chris Paul.
Chris Paul, steady Chris Paul. I just love to watch the way he plays, the way he seems to, I'm not going to say reinvent his game, because his game is similar to when I coached against him 15 years ago. But the fact that he tends to get every player playing a little bit better, he mixes his game well with other players. He understands when he should score, when he should pass, when he should motivate, when he should give maybe someone a kick in the rear end. He's probably the most complete, best leader in the NBA.
And DeMar DeRozan.
And LeBron.
And DeMar. What's your thoughts on DeMar?
Oh, DeMar, yeah. So when I coached with the Milwaukee Bucks, I coached against him and always admired his game. They were my scout. In other words, they were the team that I had to put the scouting report together for. I watched a lot of tape on that player, and he's just so consistent with his game. He doesn't try to do anything that he doesn't do very well. He defends fairly well, rebounds. Again, another good mixed player. He's not going to get in anyone's way. He's going to pick and choose when it's time for him to do his thing. He's been a big asset for the Chicago Bulls.
I heard you tell a story before that when you got drafted in '79, that Jerry West told you he was going to draft you on draft night. So going into draft night.
No, he didn't tell me he was going to draft me.
Or that he really liked you.
Yeah, he liked me. Yeah, there were rumors that he liked me. I don't think he liked me as much as Magic, nor should he have liked me as much as Magic.
Did you think going into that night you were getting drafted by the Lakers, or were you just assuming you were going somewhere else?
No, I knew that the Lakers would probably take Magic. I felt it would be between Chicago, Milwaukee, and Detroit, and maybe Seattle had I fallen a little bit further. But I knew the Lakers were out of the picture.
Did you ever have a team like growing up that you loved watching and that you wanted to play for once you got to the pros?
I can't say I wanted to play for someone because I didn't think I would ever be good enough to play in the NBA. I watched Alton Celtics when I was junior high school, and that was a team that I loved to watch. The way they played team basketball, the way they moved that rock around the perimeter, they ran the transition with Bill Russell rebounding the basketball. That transition, sometimes the ball never hit the floor before it was in the basket, or at least going towards the rim. They seemed to be very unselfish, play defense. They were the team that I looked up to when I was growing up.
A lot of people consider you one of the most underrated players of all time, including myself. I think it's a travesty it took so long for you to get in the Hall of Fame. What was the moment like when you got that call saying you're finally going to be a Hall of Famer?
I don't know. I never felt that the Hall of Fame, now, don't take this the wrong way. I thought the Hall of Fame was an excellent, certainly a dream for someone to have. But I never, some guys sit around, they stew about if they should be in the Hall of Fame or not. I was never that guy. It was like, didn't make it, life goes on. And when I came up again, I'm like, well, okay. I started looking at my resume. I said, well, maybe I might make it this time. I didn't make it that time, and then it came back around. And it's like, so my attitude was, I told my wife, I said, cool. When they called, I said, cool. That's the only thing I said. I'm not a very emotional person. I don't highs and lows. My life is not defined by basketball, although basketball has been very good to me, but there's so many other things in life that are as important as you retire. I was never that guy that sat around and said, man, he got in, she got in, they got in. Wow, what's going on? Why can't I get in the Hall of Fame? That wasn't me. So it was more of a relief.
Yeah.
Because I had more people saying I should be in. And I was like, oh, finally, they don't have to say that anymore. I'm in the Hall of Fame. And it is the ultimate.
Do you
have think about it. Doesn't matter what a younger player might say about you. Just say sometimes a younger player will disrespect an older player because we played so many years ago. But as long as they're playing the NBA, you will always be able to say, I'm in the Hall of Fame and you're not. You always have to. Absolutely. You always have a card you can play. So from that standpoint, it's pretty neat.
Do you have a favorite moment from your career?
I don't. I'm not a very fuzzy person like that. I just played the game of basketball. I was telling someone the other day, it's funny when guys maybe get 10,000, 15,000 points, and I never really kept up with those type things.
Yeah, now everyone posts it. They post like a whole thing on Instagram celebrating what they just did.
Yes, I wouldn't even have known those stats. And so I was never one that went out. I could have scored more points had I known it was going to be very important, as far as how people view you as a player. But I just let the game come to me. I was not out there forcing what I was doing to achieve some type of recognition outside of just winning basketball games. And it was kind of weird that people do that. I was not that player.
You were a two-time Defensive Player of the Year. Was defense always one of your biggest focuses when you played the game of basketball?
I'm sorry. Now that came in and out.
You were a two-time Defensive Player of the Year. Was that always a huge focus for you, the defensive end of the game?
It was more of a habit because when I was in college, I played for Coach Eddie Sutton at Arkansas. We practiced defense so much. If we practiced 3.5 hours per day, which we did every day, we probably spent 3 hours on defense, at least a good 2.5 hours on defense. It became just something that I did based on practicing defense so much. Then when I got to the NBA, I remember Coach John Killalay and Don Nelson saying I needed to be more aggressive, more physical when I played defense because this is not college anymore. You need to play defense differently.
Yeah.
They helped me transition to being a good position defensive player to maybe more physical, more cagey type of defensive basketball player.
Absolutely. My last question for you is, 2 days ago, it was the 2-year anniversary of losing Kobe Bryant. Did you ever get to meet him, and any good memories with Kobe and thoughts?
Kobe, when I coached, I got to coach against Kobe Bryant. Of course, when I coached in the All-Star game, he was on that one All-Star team in Philadelphia, and I was the coach of the West with Don Nelson and his staff.
Yeah.
But didn't really get to meet him. Well, I guess I did in the locker room when I coached in the All-Star game. But he's from a different era than I am, and I spent a lot of time when Kobe was at his best. I wasn't watching basketball very much. Certainly, his greatness transcended me even watching the game because everybody knew the type of player he was. I remember Coach Dale Harris saying that he was easily one of the most talented players he had ever watched play. And that's saying a lot coming from Dale Harris, who had watched Moses Malone, all those great Houston Rocket teams and Boston Celtic teams. But he was such a competitor. That's what I liked about him. He competed, had very high expectations of himself on the court as of his teammates. He knew how to get it done. And his memory, he will always be with us. That's the good thing the thing I like about entertainment, unlike athletics.
Yeah.
If there's a great movie, I don't care if it was in 1940, 1950, 1930, we still get to see it.
It lives on forever.
Right? They live forever. Actors, actresses, people in Hollywood, singers, pretty much because they have records or recordings, they live forever. Athletes don't really do that because every once in a while you might find a hardcore classic every once in a while.
Yeah.
But it's not like it's on demand. But certain players, Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan, LeBron James, Bill Russell, Oscar Robertson, Kareem, Bill Russell, they do live for decades and decades. They tend to live for a long time in the memories because they played the game at such a high level. Those highlights are just etched in our spirit. Kobe is in that category. Not many people in athletics ever reach that stature.
Well, rest in peace, Kobe. You'll live on forever. He was my favorite player, and I know he's many people's favorite players. I want to thank you, Sidney, for coming on the show today. It was such a great honor to interview you. And where can we find you on socials, and do you want to promote anything?
I have a social media, but man, I have someone that handles that. I try not to do social media personally because it's too taxing and it's not good. Not good for your psyche. No, I don't know. My website, if people want to know more about me, they can go to SidneyMoncrief.com. They want to just catch up, see what I'm doing.
Everybody go check out that website. And Sidney, thank you so much for joining me today.
Okay, thank you. Take care.
You too.